Hello, everyone. Welcome to the February 23rd, 2021 meeting of the Waynesboro Area School District Board of Directors. We'll open our meeting today with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have all of our board members in attendance today. And first thing we'll look at is the agenda. Dr. Klein, I believe there are no changes to the agenda.
No.
Therefore, can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Bakewell gets a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, on to the minutes. Anyone find any problem with the minutes from our last? If not, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Superintendent report, Dr. Klein.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to give you an update as far as number of cases of COVID-19 in the district where we, as of this afternoon, we had two, both students, one at the middle school and one at Hooverville. That's what we have at this time. It's been pretty low the last few weeks. I think the most we had maybe, I think Mrs. Kuzer was on a 4 at one time last week, maybe.
Yes, we had 4 last week.
Okay. So the other thing I'd like to share is that we do last Friday, and unfortunately we had plans to have some teachers here and a student also. But we had Congressman John Joyce here in this room. He came to kind of celebrate with the district that we had 100 days in school. And he seemed truly amazed that we are able to make it this far in school. And he actually presented us with what he called an extension of remarks. It says congressional record, and you can see a copy of it here, and we'll get it framed and get it around, let buildings see it, because it's our staff that's making it happen. But this was actually read on the floor of Congress, not last Thursday, but the Thursday before, with Speaker Pelosi there and others, because it's addressed to Madam Speaker. So he said it's a big deal to have that done. And he seemed very proud of what Waynesboro has accomplished as far as being in school during this pandemic situation that we have in the country. I know Mrs. Harold was there, Mr. Holzman, Dr. Sternerheim was there. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add.
I really like the wording. I like the commendation and what it says.
Would you like me to read it?
I think it's good.
Okay. Well, it says congressional record, House of Representatives, Washington, Thursday, February 11th, 2021, in recognition of the Waynesboro Area School District, Honorable John Joyce, Pennsylvania, in the House of Representatives. Madam Speaker, I rise today to recognize the Waynesboro Area School District students, teachers, and leaders as they celebrate the successful completion of 100 days of school during the 2020-21 academic year, a great accomplishment during the COVID-19 pandemic. This ongoing public health crisis has affected every American community across the country, including our children and schools. Despite the challenges they are facing, the Waynesboro Area School District is open for in-person instruction and has only required virtual instruction for 8 days this school year. Getting children safely back to school is a key piece of our nation's recovery from this pandemic, and I applaud the Waynesboro Area School District leaders, teachers, staff, and parents for their commitment to their students' continuity of quality education. As they mark their 100th day of school, I congratulate the Waynesboro Area School District community on a successful reopening of in-person instruction and wish them a continued safe and successful school year.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Now, little did we know we'd probably miss more for snow.
Can't do anything about that.
No.
Okay, anything else, Dr. Klein, or?
No, that's
Set
it.
for your-
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. To my knowledge, we have no public comment tonight, so that will take us to board reports. Got something on a committee meeting, buddy?
We meet tomorrow at 1. We're going to work on open enrollment and then
No, I can't.
Was that
I
policy or
apologize.
what?
Yeah, it's
Policy.
policy. Yep.
and something else very important.
Yeah. Mrs. Kuzer, do you
It
remember
was
what's on the agenda
relation-
tomorrow for policy?
Dr.
Hope-
Sternheim.
I think it's relationship with students.
That's what it is.
Oh, yes, that's
That's
it.
what it is. Say
Yeah.
that louder.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Sternheim is correct.
Yep.
Thank you.
Relationship with what?
Students.
Oh, students.
It's basically like a faculty and staff relationship with
Okay.
students policy that we had reviewed in the past, and we're gonna revisit it again.
And then in March, at our next one, Matt Gordon is going to come and we're going to do
The policy being recommended for dating violence, as well as disciplinary procedures for students who commit sexual assaults off school property or on school property and off school property in terms of disciplinary action.
And then we also have about 12 new policies waiting for our attention after that. So,
we might have to meet twice.
yeah, maybe.
And if we do, we do.
And we'll get those out. I didn't want to send out the next dozen because of just all the things that we're trying to tackle right now in policy. And then once we get one or two of those move forward, we'll send them out. Just don't want to get too much out there.
Other committees? Did have academic committee. We're happy to have an extra meeting as well. We're going to have an extra meeting on, I believe it's the 8th, second Monday, which would be the 8th at, I remember what time we said, 9 o'clock for that meeting. We talked a lot about some things to look at with how school's going to look next year, with bringing some more kids back, other options that we're going to have. So there's a lot to talk about with that, trying to meet the needs of our kids and in some ways take advantage of the opportunity we have with all the changes from this year to hopefully smoothly move into any changes that we're going to make with curriculum and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Okay. If not, still having that executive session.
Yeah, and didn't you want to?
We need the executive session
We didn't do the executive session.
to approve the board waiver.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. So we will be taking a break. I believe it'll be a short break for executive session, and we will then be back.
Mr. Erickson, I'll text you.
Okay, Mrs. Harold, whenever you're ready, we're good to go.
Thank you.
Maybe it's COVID.
Okay, everyone, we're back ready to start the business part of the meeting. And the first item is student waiver, Dr. Sternerheim.
Okay, the recommendation is to approve the student waiver as discussed in executive session.
That, of course, is the first waiver we were talking about.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Next item, personnel, Dr. Sternheim.
Thank you, Mrs. Harold. I'd like to direct your attention to the personnel items in the board docs. We have retirement of support staff, resignation of support staff, appointments of substitute support staff. And then on the next page, we have a series of requests for leaves. Recommendation is to approve as listed.
we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any questions for Dr. Sternheim? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, on to the Act 93. Dr. Klein.
Act 93 agreement. This is the agreement that has been worked on between the Personnel Committee and the board and the administrative team. And that is for 2021 to 2023. And we're asking that we are recommending it be approved.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Any questions for Dr. Klein? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay. You on to discussion of the school calendar.
You want to go ahead and
Sure.
give some of the changes?
Yeah, I don't, I don't believe we've had any changes since the last time, Dr. Klein.
No, we were looking at.
So we were, okay, so basically it is essentially the same calendar that was presented at the last board meeting. We had discussed a little bit, we had a limited discussion on, actually, we recounted the days, and so the last day of school is on a Friday, which would land graduation also on a Friday. At this point, we do have possible snow makeup days in the calendar, with the understanding that moving forward, we may have the opportunity to use remote learning days in lieu of the snow days. But again, that determination is yet to be,
Right.
we need to wait for some type of PDE directive.
And I will tell you, at least with the teacher advisory, some of the feedback was some of the folks actually were hoping that we'd be able to keep one or two of those actual snow makeup days to bring the kids back in, because they're, we have worked very hard to get the kids face to face. So there has been some interest in at least having one or two of those days be face to face makeup instead of virtual. I thought it was a good comment.
So even though this is the second time that we're looking at it, I'm requesting that we not necessarily act on. I'll take any recommendations from the board at this point, but with our first choice legacy team, we needed to look at it one more time and come to a determination of replacement of teacher and service days in preparation for next school year. So
And we're at graduation on June the 3rd.
graduation is June the 3rd. It's also the last day of school.
Okay. And that is definitely a change from the 27th. Is that where it started? Didn't we say at one point it was 27th?
It was on the 1st, I believe, and then we
Yeah.
added 2 additional teacher and service days. So we were, and then there was an error, I believe, in April.
At some point it was on the 27th. Maybe not. Okay. All right, fine. So
I'd
it's,
like to look at November,
Mhm.
and I said this last year and it couldn't be changed, but now that hunting does not wait until Monday to start. And I realize I'm not a hunter, so yeah. And then so in November, we have no school on Monday, Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and an Act 80 day on Wednesday. If I were a teacher, okay, I'm not a hunter, I realize. Okay, but if I were a teacher, I would rather have Monday as no school, Act 80 day on Tuesday, come back to school for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let's do a 3-day week there. And then have an early dismissal on the 22nd, Wednesday, the 22nd before Christmas, to give you a little bit longer time before Christmas. Because right now, the early dismissal is on Thursday and Christmas is on Saturday. So anyway, that's just, if I were teaching, I prefer.
Well, and I agree with you on the hunting thing too,
Yes.
because now hunting starts on Saturday, right?
Right.
So
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So why do we have to have Monday and Tuesday off school?
Well, and the
to go
kids
hunting?
would still, if we moved the Act 80 day to Tuesday, the kids would still have Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, that's true. Right.
I think it's crazy to have a week off at Thanksgiving, come back for 15 days and have a week off for Christmas. And I mean, and the hunting thing, and I'm not trying to diminish hunters, but we have at least 8 grades that don't hunt. Right? I mean, well, I guess elementary schools can hunt, but I question how many elementary schools are hunting.
Right.
so
I
that
think it
seems
sounds like
like
a good idea.
that's a pretty good
Linda.
suggestion, everybody thinks?
You would do the Act 80 on Tuesday.
I do, if you want the Act 80 day in there, I do that on Tuesday. instead,
And then have 3 days
I
of school.
and then have 3 days of
Have
school.
have the Act 80 day on Monday.
Yeah, I would, that's what I would do.
And
If
then
you took one more snow day away, you could end the last week of May and not don't.
Well, or have the Act 80 day on Monday, exactly. So our teachers who hunt might not
Well,
like that.
I was gonna say, I like the Monday off in case people go away, as
Wow.
they get a
Yeah.
day to come back.
But they could
But I
still
like-
go.
I like the Act 80 on.
Also, I'd like to comment on the first day of school being a 3-day week. So it starts on the 25th, August 25th.
Mhm.
I always accomplish, when I was in the classroom, I accomplished just as much in those 3 days as I did if we went back to school in 5 days.
Oh.
So I love the fact that the first week of school is 3 days.
It's 3 days.
It just makes so much more sense.
And many of our teachers like that feature. Obviously, I don't think it happened this year, but last year, the last, not the beginning of this year, but the year before, and they seem to like that.
Yep.
Having that first 3
You
days.
get a chance to get the bugs out of your schedule sometimes, and you get a chance to meet, and it's just, and it's better for the kids. The kids have a hard time coming back. So if we could do
Any other-
3 days that first week if possible.
Yeah,
It's-
and that's what is
It's already,
scheduled now.
yeah, that,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So you get, so you have to meet again with your group?
oh, yeah, I just wanted to finalize some of the other dates, but I will take these recommendations and yeah, I do agree. It does seem a little excessive in November. Yeah, that with that
Mhm.
time. So I don't know if it was manipulated so that we would end school on a Friday. So we can go back and read, because I think that will put us back on a Thursday at this point, but we will look at options definitely. I mean, we
Well,
have time.
actually,
I
it
don't
can- it
know.
We
wouldn't make
just
any
put it
difference.
somewhere else
Sure.
that day
Mhm.
off.
yeah, because that
Yeah.
day off, I
Even
propose that
before
we have
Christmas.
at Christmas.
Right.
So if we take away
Mhm.
one day off, yeah, put it at Christmas and get off earlier. Then have a half day on Wednesday
Okay.
and then we'll have Thursday off. I mean, yeah, and then we'll have
Okay.
a full day on
Okay.
Thursday.
And then if we can, once we make those changes, I'll give it to teacher advisory and also the parent group.
Sure. I think we have time. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
think so.
Okay, all right, thank
Right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to policies. Whatever that would be. Dr. Klein?
Ah, sorry, I gotta go back to that.
Five.
Okay, and this is the first reading, so the very basic. There are a number of them there, as you can see, with school visitors, security personnel, which I believe has changed. Is there anything there I believe that we changed? Was that for the types of security? Who would be that part? I think that's how we changed it, wasn't it, Mr. Holtzman?
I believe so too.
And then the school sorry, it's been a while, but I don't remember on the school calendar what it was that we changed when that facilities workplace safety that came out of as a recommendation, I think, from PSBA.
I believe school calendar included more of the
Oh, yeah, I believe so. That's right.
and facilities and such included issues such as pertaining to closures,
Yeah.
COVID, safety.
Sick leave, the same thing. I think a lot of it, we finally got to some of them that were related to this year's pandemic.
Well, it's the first reading. If anybody had any further questions, they can come up. Okay, any questions at the moment? Okay. No? Okay, on to the auction items. Mr. Holtzman.
Yes, ma'am. As you know, we've cleaned out buildings at times.
Oh,
I'm
had a
sorry.
job
Oh, it's me. I skipped. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hang on there. We'll get to you in a second. This is a job description for a new job. My fault. Whoever that would be.
So basically, last summer, when we anticipated the need to provide an alternative option for our students' instruction, we had created the First Choice Learning Network hybrid teaching position. It's essentially the same position, although we've learned a little bit from the past year, things we needed to add. And so this is posted as a First Choice Learning Network virtual learning teacher. So it is basically, I mean, the job description is there. It is presented as an option for our current teachers who are now completing their intention forms, which are due on Friday. as an option for the 2021-22 school year.
Questions?
And are these, I want to make sure, is that elementary to middle or secondary?
Okay, at this point, we are taking applications across the board. We believe that the easiest way, or the most, I shouldn't say easy, that's probably the best word. It's most feasible in K to 8, and we're still exploring options at the high school level. It just becomes far more complicated to assign one teacher an entire block of classes virtually on the high school level. But I did get a proposal the other day from a teacher at the high school for consideration for next year, and I had shared it with the high school administration. So, but what we perceive next year is allowing this to, I mean, this definitely be in place K to 8, and then continue to explore other options at the senior high school level.
Okay, so we're just approving the description of the job.
Just a job description.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
No other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now on to you, Mr. Holtzman.
Thank you, ma'am. At time to time, we have had items that are surplus items for the district that don't have a use in the district. Believe it or not, the last auction was January, February of last year.
Wow.
Surprisingly, just before the pandemic and the school closure did. This one does not have that many items. In years past, we've had significantly more items, but again, we've done a pretty good job of cleaning items out in the district. So we're asking for approval of these items. We do have these on a list. We did put pictures also out there with a Google Drive for the board to take a look at as well, and as for the facilities committee as well to review.
I was just looking at the cost of the auction. I guess that's actually the next item.
Sure.
I just want to make sure we can at least break even on it.
Well,
I mean,
that's
it
the
seems-
goal.
it-
That's the goal. And I think they'll work with us. I truly do. I mean, Hurley's has been working with us
Okay.
because I know that's the next agenda item, but they're conscious also that this doesn't have a lot of value.
Yeah,
And
I-
that they'll work within the limits, and they'll use our staff as much as they can to go ahead and staff the auction. But they are cognizant that there's not a lot of sales on it.
None of these things were taken from teachers' rooms to make more room for students. And
No,
they're gonna
this-
want these things back next year when,
You're correct. These items were not taken out of there. In fact, we still have a lot of garages and other classrooms and buildings that are full of those items that
okay.
were pulled
I
out of
just want to
classrooms.
make sure we're not getting rid of
Yeah.
something that we might need next year.
Yep. And again, if there's something as we're looking through this list that somebody says, we really needed this somewhere, we'll obviously pull that back out of the auction.
So we're approving, first item would be approving the items to be auctioned, and the second one is the contract with Hurley.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have a motion to approve the item.
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now for the details of the
Harold, I missed the second.
Mr. Wenger,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, Mr. Holtzman.
Sure. The second item is it's an auction agreement there with Hurley's Auctions. It's the same agreement that we had last time. And again, they will work with us. We've spoken with the Hurleys about making sure that they're cognizant of the fact that there's not a lot to sell there. And so we feel that we'll be able to make sure that we meet that requirement. Obviously, the goal would be not to have a loss, obviously, and I'm certainly that's a goal we can achieve. So, yeah, one of the things I like too is they do an online piece too, so that does get a little bit more interest at times,
Mhm.
especially if people are looking for school items. So that does seem to generate a little bit more interest.
So it is online too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep.
Other questions for Mr. Holtzman? If not, do we have a motion to approve this contract?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Transportation, Mr. Holtzman.
Thank you. This is an agreement with Franklin County Children and Youth. It's actually for 2021, but I think things were delayed possibly a little bit on the other side. We went back and forth a couple times, and I think some of those back and forth conversations became delayed ultimately. So we do have an agreement now that we can approve, or we're recommending the approval for. This is a requirement for us to provide transportation for students. When we have students who are foster placed in the district or within outside of the district, we have to provide transportation. We do get a little bit of a reimbursement from that, from the county through their funding. So this agreement kind of makes sure that that follows the rules that we have.
However,
Yes.
we can't dictate if a child went into foster care far, far away, that we would still have to provide transportation.
That's,
correct?
yeah, certainly, you know, when you look at the McKinney-Vento Act, you know, there's no mileage really associated with that specifically. So we do run into this situation where, you know, hypothetically, we've had students who have been in Gettysburg and we're, you know, bringing students back from Gettysburg over here to the district. There's no hard and fast rule with that distance, but obviously the situation has to be looked at and reviewed at. And obviously our homeless and foster coordinator, Ms. Sullivan, would look at that situation as well and consult with the parents. Obviously, if the student was too far away, there would be a concern about having a child travel too far.
Yeah, I was just curious
Yeah.
as far as the law. I mean,
Right.
if the law says we got to, I believe it was Littlestown, as I remember, whatever that was,
Sure.
farther than Gettysburg,
Sure.
and we didn't have any hidden say in that.
Yeah.
So-
And again, I think they try to place them as close as possible, knowing that, you know, the best practice is to bring them back to the district and they want to keep them as close as possible. But to your point, there is nothing in the law that specifies an actual distance. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is there I should know this, but I don't. Is there an amount of time?
not that
Like,
I'm aware of either. No.
it could go for a whole school year.
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, for placement. Yes, ma'am. You're correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, certainly.
Okay, well, do we have a motion to approve this?
Move to approve. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Funding holiday.
Thank you. Just as a reminder, we are members of the Lincoln Benefit Trust. This is so effectively we're self-insured through the trust. What we do is we have rates set with the trust for the year. So we basically pay into a bank account fund from which the medical expenses are pulled from that fund, as well as administrative fees. In our budget this year, because again, this was a very tight budget year, very little state funding. It was a tough year to budget for the pandemic. So what we had done is we actually budgeted taking a funding holiday, meaning we would not put in approximately $450,000, 1 month's worth of money, district money, into that bank account and fund for medical insurance. So we did budget not doing that. We've looked at our actuals this year, and then we also have the actuarials who work for the Lincoln Benefit Trust. Conrad Siegel reviewed this request as well. So everybody at this point is confident and approved to go ahead and take a funding holiday if the board so chooses to do so.
We didn't take one this year yet.
Not yet, no ma'am. Typically we wait till June just to make sure,
We
but
took one last.
we did. And we're getting closer to not being able to do that probably in future years. I mean, again, it all depends on medical claims, but you know, the balance is getting a little bit lower. The projection right now is 3 months that you're required to have. We do have more than 3 months, certainly, but they're actually going to approve. I think they did just approve the target to go down to actually 2 months. So we're still, at this point, we would have about 230% by the end of the year.
We don't have this written into the current budget.
Not for next year's budget, not for 21, 22. Correct. But it wasn't, yeah, it was in this year's budget, 2021.
And we need it for this year's budget. We can't keep it for next year's budget.
What-
Because next year's looking worse than this year.
I agree with you. I'd like to take it next year too as well. And obviously
Yeah.
that could be a conversation as we go down the road, but we certainly do need it this year as well. Our cyber charter costs, unfortunately, have just increased substantially. And that's certainly something we need that $450,000 to remain with the district funds at this point.
So how much are our cyber charter costs?
Sure. We're projecting about $3.6 million, whereas we were budgeting closer to $2 million. You know, we saw at least a 50% increase in the number of students going, and we've even seen the special education percentages increase. The district's rate, I believe, and Mrs. Sullivan can correct me at some later point, but I think we're closer to 13%. But theirs are now 18%. So somehow those students, you know, the ratio somehow increased to 18%. And they receive almost twice as much money for any student who has special needs. And there's no level when it comes to that. So even if a student were to need very minimal additional supports, they would still receive twice as much money from the school district. So effectively, we're trying to cover the costs of sending money somewhere outside of this district to a cyber charter school.
Okay. Hear more about that. Okay, so right now we're acting on whether to approve the funding holiday. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, financials, bills for payment. Mr. Holtzman.
Yes, ma'am. We have bills for payment. That's cafeteria and the general fund, as well as we have requisitions for you in here. And then the other item is just a budget income and expense report. That doesn't really necessarily need to be approved, but that's in there for your review.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any questions for Mr. Holtzman? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You.
Thank you.
And light and cabinet comment.
Not this time.
Ready?
I would like to share a video that was created to
Oh.
celebrate our 100 days in school in session. So it's not, as Dr. Klein notes at the very beginning, not a documentary of the entire school year, but it was an attempt to capture at least the last 2 weeks in each of our buildings as a means to celebrate the combined efforts of an amazing school board, administration, teachers, support staff, learners, families, and community. So this is not that this is finalized. There's one glitch that I have to fix. So this is a live stream, so it will be on, but eventually we'll be sharing it out on our website as well as on our Facebook page. So enjoy.
Tell everyone that we're celebrating our 100 days in school with this video. This video is not a documentary of the entire year, but it's a look at the recent days in order to celebrate. And we thank everybody for all their hard work and dedication this year to make sure that the kids of this community were in school and are learning. And I'm proud of everybody for making it this far.
That's really cute.
We are celebrating the 100th day of school because we are so blessed to be in person, and this is a tradition that we have celebrated every year. And kids make projects, and it is very important that we have been here in person, so it has been an extra special celebration.
I think it is important for the kids to be back in school, to learn, to be with their peers, to be able to interact versus to be online and be stuck in front of the computer all day long.
I like to be in school because I can interact with my friends, get to interact with people safely, and get to learn with others and learn from other people, make mistakes, and learn off of them from our teachers instead of not knowing from our computer.
Oh, really?
I think it's really important for students to be here in person. Just for the social aspect, I think it really helps with the idea that we are all in this together, even though things are difficult. The students are here for one another, the teachers are here for the students, and the students are even here for the teachers sometimes.
I feel super grateful to be in school. I love the kids. I think this is the right place for us to be safe, and to be getting an effective education. So it has been a challenging year, but the kids, I think, have done an awesome job, and I'm grateful to be here, and I'm happy to have all the kids because they're wonderful, and I think they need it for socialization and for just learning in general.
My favorite thing about being in school is being able to be around my friends and other people. The best thing about being in school, by far, is to be with the kids. Interacting with them, learning about them, even just glances above the mask, their reactions are so much more alive and vibrant in the classroom. Seeing them and hearing them laugh and just interacting with them and building relationships by far is the best thing about being in the building.
My favorite thing about school is being able to play football and basketball.
Jake earlier, it's okay.
I found my way out to the pool.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Okay, anything else from Clayton Cabinet? Not board comment. Nothing. Aaron, do we have any public comment?
No public comments.
Okay, thank you. Well, that about does it for tonight. Do we have a motion to adjourn? We are going to go into executive session, but will not be coming back. Motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks very much.